Names have been changed, but this story is told directly by a professional sergeant. Ahmet says that night, during an outpost patrol, the soldier walking beside him suddenly stopped. No phone, no radio, no one standing next to him. Yet he started speaking to the darkness in a whisper, like he was begging someone, just a little more. Give me time, just a little more. And then, according to Ahmet, a thick, near-black smoke appeared, clinging to the ground. There was wind, but the smoke didn't obey it, as if it had chosen its own direction and came straight toward them. Ahmet says, in that moment, Mert's face seemed to change. It was a face, but it didn't look like a face, and his eyes weren't the eyes Ahmet knew. Now, let me tell it from the beginning, because that night wasn't just fear. It felt like something, from inside the dark, was offering a bargain. Disclaimer: for safety reasons, names have been changed. What you're about to hear is based on events told directly by a professional sergeant. According to Ahmet, there are some people who make you feel uneasy, even when they're simply walking beside you, because those people seem to hear something before you do, sense something before you do. In Ahmet's life, there was someone like that, Mert. Ahmet served as a non-commissioned officer, a sergeant, in counter-terrorism in southeast Turkey between 2011 and 2016. Those years test your sleep, your patience, and your faith, he says. Long nights, harsh terrain, oppressive silences. He had seen a lot, but he says the first time he encountered something truly strange was alongside Mert. At first glance, Mert didn't seem different from the other soldiers. He spoke little. His face was stern, his gaze steady. He didn't joke much, and he didn't talk about himself. But after a while, everyone in the unit noticed the same thing. Mert knew certain things too early. It started with small incidents. During an operation, as they were passing a rocky area, Mert would suddenly stop, and without even looking, say, "There's a scorpion there." When they lifted the stone, there really was a scorpion. Another day, he said, "Under that stone, there's a snake." And again, it was true. At first, the team called it luck, a coincidence, just experience, and brushed it off. But when something repeats that consistently, it stops being a coincidence. And the real breaking point wasn't the animals, it was human movement. Ahmet explains, one night they were scanning the terrain. Everyone's eyes were adjusting to the darkness. The air was cold, the wind was harsh, and visibility dropped to 0 in places. Mert suddenly whispered, "They're coming from the right. 3 of them. One will lag behind." Ahmet thought to himself, yeah, right. No one can know that in this darkness. But a few minutes later, 3 people really did appear from that direction. One fell back. The team took position, and the threat was stopped before it escalated. Another time, near dawn, Mert said, "There's movement today. Don't let your guard down." And that day, they really did make contact. Ahmet says, "Back then we called it experience. We called it instinct. We called it intuition. But then one night, I realized it couldn't be only that. That night, they were on patrol near the outpost, one of those areas where phones don't get reception, and even radios sometimes struggle. The air was dry and bitter, the kind that burns your throat like metal every time you breathe in. Somewhere along the patrol route, Ahmet noticed that Mert was falling behind. First he thought, did he twist his ankle? But when he turned back, he saw Mert standing alone in the dark, like he wasn't walking, like he was waiting. But for what? No one could tell. When Ahmet stepped closer, he noticed something even stranger. Mert was talking. No phone, No headset, no one beside him. Yet his lips were moving, his voice was low, his sentences broken. At first Ahmet thought, is he talking to himself? But as he was about to call out, Mert! He says he heard Mert speaking as if pleading with someone. Just a little more. Give me time. Just a little more. Ahmet says his blood ran cold because that pleading didn't sound like it was meant for a human being. According to Ahmet, the air changed in that moment. The wind may not have stopped, but even the sound of the wind felt like it pulled back. It wasn't getting cold. It was a feeling of tightness from the inside. Then Ahmet says he saw a dark, almost black smoke. It wasn't rising like normal smoke. It was heavy and dense, as if it stayed close to the ground, as if it carried its own weight. The strangest part, he says, was that it wasn't being pushed by the wind. It moved as if it had chosen a direction. The smoke came closer, Ahmet says, not because something pushed it. It came like it meant to. He describes something drawing near to his ear from within that smoke. He couldn't tell if it was breath or a whisper. He didn't hear a clear word, but he felt a very distinct closeness, like something was right beside his ear. When Ahmet panicked and turned his head toward Mert, he claims Mert's face looked as if it had changed. While describing this part, Ahmet's sentences break. His face, it didn't look like a face. His eyes weren't the eyes I knew. Ahmet knows exactly what fear does to a person in that moment. You either run or you attack. His reflex was to attack. He lunged at Mert and shoved him. But Ahmet claims Mert didn't fall. For a moment, he hung in the air, he says, like the ground didn't hold him. Ahmet says that when he couldn't accept what he was seeing, reality itself began to slip, because the human mind rejects certain images as impossible, and when it rejects them, panic grows. After that, the patrol formation broke. Ahmet got separated from his team. I don't really know how I got separated, he says. Darkness, chaos, short commands, rushing footsteps, and suddenly, Ahmet found himself somewhere else entirely. According to Ahmet, he found himself in a muddy pit, sunk up to his knees. The more he tried to pull his feet free, the more the mud held him. Every movement made him sink deeper. In a place like that, you think you're alone, but Ahmet says he wasn't. He claims he saw Mert at the edge of the pit, but this Mert didn't look like the Mert from the patrol. His gaze was foreign, his voice different. He was speaking, but not in Turkish, something Ahmet couldn't understand, a guttural language that sounded ancient. The more Ahmet heard it, the tighter his chest became, because it felt as if it wasn't Mert speaking. It was something speaking from inside Mert. Then Ahmet says he felt the mud pulling him downward. The mud stopped feeling like mud. It was as if someone was pressing him down. His knees sank further, his breathing tightened, and it felt like a weight had settled on his chest. Ahmet says that's when he started praying, not from memory, but from somewhere inside. I had nothing else, he says. No weapon helps you in that moment, and shouting doesn't either. All you have is your tongue and your heart. And according to Ahmet, at that moment, he heard the call to prayer from far away. He emphasizes this part. It sounded distant, but at the same time, it was close, like it echoed inside my chest. With that sound, the pressure of the mud eased. Mert's face seemed to ripple for a moment. The black smoke pulled back, scattered, and vanished. Ahmet says he stayed in that pit for a while. Then he forced his legs free and walked, shaking, breathless, until he finally reached his unit. When Ahmet returned, he couldn't tell anyone, because before you can convince anyone else, you need to believe yourself. Maybe it was exhaustion, he said. Maybe my eyes played tricks on me. But the night didn't end. A few hours later, Ahmet says Mert pulled him aside. He wanted to talk somewhere away from everyone. Mert was calm, like nothing had happened, but also like he had been carrying something for a long time and could no longer hide it. His first sentence was, "I'm sorry." When Ahmet asked, "Sorry for what? What did you do?" Mert started to speak. Mert claimed that since childhood, an entity had been attached to him. He described it as a female jinn. He said it began after a strange incident in a Turkish bath. The entity behaved as if it had chosen him as her husband. According to Mert, this entity gave him information, protected him, and warned him about things in advance. The source of what Ahmet had thought was a sixth sense. But Mert said one more thing. The entity was jealous. The more Mert worked with Ahmet, the closer they became, the more it started to see Ahmet as a threat. Ahmet says he felt both anger and fear in that moment, because regardless of whether it was true, the fact that Mert believed it so completely was a problem on its own. According to Ahmet, the incidents didn't end at the outpost. The real pressure started in the barracks. Strange sounds at night in the dormitory, not finding an item where you left it, a cup that looked as if it had tipped over by itself, a door left slightly open, as if it had opened on its own. One by one, you can say, that can happen. But Ahmet says, when these can happen, things pile up. They stop being coincidence. After a while, other soldiers also started feeling disturbed. Some said, it's like someone walked around at night. Others said, something pressed down on me in my sleep. And some avoided Mert entirely, saying, I feel tight in my chest when he's near. The heaviest moment Ahmet describes is this. One night, he woke up. When he opened his eyes, he saw Mert standing there. Mert had a pistol in his hand, and it looked like he was pointing it at Ahmet's head. Ahmet says he couldn't move. If he shouted, the dorm would wake up. And if everyone woke up, he didn't know what would happen. Mert's eyes weren't normal. It was like it wasn't Mert. Like there was another intention behind him, Ahmet says. Ahmet spoke quietly. Mert, put it down. Mert didn't answer. Then, for a moment, his expression changed, like he came back to himself. He lowered the pistol and sat on the edge of the bed, as if his legs had given out. Ahmet says that's when he understood. This was no longer a story. It was danger. Ahmet reported what happened to the commander. He says it was extremely difficult, because when you tell things like this, you either aren't taken seriously, or you get labeled as someone talking nonsense. But Ahmet says the commander took it seriously, after hearing similar things from other soldiers. Mert was evaluated and referred to a psychiatric board. Ahmet summarizes the outcome like this. Mert's mental state was not stable. His perception of reality could be impaired. And because he continued to insist on his invisible spouse, he could not continue his service. Mert's contract was terminated, and he was removed from the base. When Mert left, he looked at Ahmet one last time. Ahmet says he can't forget that look, like it was saying, is it over? Like it was asking, are you free now? After Mert was gone, Ahmet says he felt something lift at the outpost, as if the air cleared, as if the dorm felt wider, as if nights became normal again. But something inside Ahmet didn't return to normal, because some things leave a mark in your mind. And that mark isn't only fear, it's doubt. Doubt about what you saw, doubt about what you heard. Ahmet ends the story like this. Even now, some nights, before I fall asleep, I listen to the silence. Because that night I learned something. Sometimes darkness doesn't scare you. Sometimes. What scares you is feeling something bargaining with you from inside the darkness. And in that bargain, the most dangerous thing is answering. Then, with a short pause, If you want more stories like this, don't forget to leave a like. If you subscribe to the channel, you won't miss new uploads. And if you turn on the notification bell, you'll be notified the moment I upload a new video. Also, write in the comments, do you think what Ahmet experienced was only stress and exhaustion? Or was Mert truly being controlled by something? And the most critical question, if you were in Ahmet's place that night, would you answer Mert? Would you respond? Or would you stay silent and pretend you never heard anything?